So this is the DS Incubator about installing packages. We already had one meetup last week, and today I'm gonna be covering a second part of it, hopefully the last about installing packages. The reason why I'm gonna repeat a little bit of what I covered last time because I think it's very important. It's the idea of installing packages from private repositories, and a few things have changed in the ecosystems of tools that make that possible. So I wanted to show what are those things here. I'll be working with a computer environment that you can reproduce if you want. You could clone the repo that I'm working with, change your directory to it, and then just run Docker Compose up, so that if you want, you can reproduce what I'm running here. So let's see where we left last time. Okay, we left here, where I very briefly showed how to install packages from a GitHub repository that is private. There is a video now on YouTube that you can check. It's specifically that. So if that's all you want, maybe share that specific link with people so they don't have to see other things. Let me expand this so I have a terminal on or a console on my left. So there we go. So what I'm going to be doing today is to walk through the setup of what we call a GitHub token, which is a private key or password, or whatever you want to call it, that allows you to communicate to GitHub from your computer. And among the things that you can do with such a like a private piece of information is to install packages from private repositories. So I showed last time that if I wanted to, for example, install this package naively, just running what we usually run for installing packages from GitHub, the function devtools install_GitHub, this should fail because this specific computing environment is not set up to talk to GitHub in any way. This is a fresh computer environment. So among all the options that the function message or the error message gives us, the one that is that I know is the problem is that we don't have the required permissions to access this repository. So the v1 function that you need to call to then follow its guidance is this one here. Is a function from the use this package called gh_token_help. So that will give you an idea of what's going on and how you can move forward. As you can see, there is this cross here saying, hey, there is no access personal token on GitHub. So the host is online. From this computer environment, I can talk to GitHub, but not do things that require an access token because there is no such a thing yet. So it is telling me that I can create one with this function, create_GitHub_token. So I'm going to copy that and paste it here. But this is a function from the use this package. So if you haven't called library, you can also use this column, that syntax. Let me move this a little bit. So by running that function, I'm going to be sent to GitHub. I need to first, enter my password to kind of get to my settings, and now I'm, presented with this screen where I can type the name for this token. It's a good idea to write something meaningful, like the computer in which you are intending to use that token, and maybe the date, so that if a long time after now you forget about that token, you have an idea of what was the intention. So now I'm gonna write delete and the date of today, 2022 March 22, because I want to delete this. I'm gonna show this, which is private information, and then I'm gonna have to delete it very quickly after that. So I'm gonna generate the token for a single time. I'm gonna see the token here. I'm gonna refresh the page. That will make the token to go away. And I will never be able to see it again. So the way you set that up is now following the instructions of the message that we have here. Again, let me move this message forward from here. So we are being asked to run this function here to actually register that token locally. So that's what we're gonna do. So the package that has that function is called git creds, and then I'm gonna type set. So git creds set is the function that allows us now to enter the token. So I'm gonna paste it there and run. And I'm gonna clean up my console. So now the token has been set. So if I called the function GA token help once again, and now you see that there is no more red cross here. It says that the personal access token has been found, has been discovered, right? That's pretty much all I need to do. So let's go back to the instructions to try now run the command that we wanted to run to install the package. So I'm going to scroll down. So we did this bit, the function gh token help gave us instructions. We created a GitHub token with create GitHub token. Then we set it up locally with git creds _ set. And now we have just confirmed that all seems to be doing well. But note the following. So if I try to rerun that function, let me paste that here. I still get a failure and the same failure, and that's very confusing. And the reason is because that function has an argument that you have to explicitly set to let it know of the token that you have set. So there is this function from yet another package. So here you can sense the complexity, and that's why I think this deserves a video and a lot of attention, because it's quite complex to do something as simple as to install a package from a private repository. So if I run this function gh token, what I get is an indication that yes, the token is there and a little bit of what it is. But the reason why it is not shown in full is to protect my the privacy of what I'm doing here. So it's a very bad idea to show the token to people, to do what I'm doing right now. The reason why I'm doing this is a demo, but I'm going to destroy that token right away before I publish this video outside 2 degrees. So now I can then use that secret, that token, to pass it directly to the argument auth_token of the function install _GitHub. So let's do that, and that should install the package. As we can see now, we do not get the same error message. We just get a notification, a message, information that the package is being downloaded from the head on the repo. So that's all good. And while this happens, let me reflect a little bit on what has just happened. We want something relatively simple, I think, to install a package from a GitHub repo. It happens to be private, so I need some privileges. Okay, I did the setup, and now I expect that to just work. But it didn't, because this function devtools install _GitHub is kind of picky and wants an explicit argument. So let me tell you that there is a better solution for that. So you can do what I just did and explicitly pass the auto token, but you can also use another function from a clever package that is called pack, and the function is called pkg for package _ install. Let me show you that in action in a moment, but before I do that, let me here just run, I'm gonna press enter to allow that to continue. I was being asked to decide if I wanted to update packages, so I just went with the default. So now I want to show you that if I run this other function, I do not need to pass explicitly the authorization token, and here I note a typo, because this function is clever enough to recognize that token from wherever it is set up. So I'm going to just run that, installing now again from GitHub, but now with a different function, not the one that we use more commonly, the one that comes from the remotes package, and that is called install _GitHub. Now I'm using a function that comes from the package, and it's called pkg _ install. When you with the same function, you can install packages from CRAN or from GitHub. When you give it a string that has the format that you're seeing here, like repo/package, it will assume that you want to install something from GitHub, and that's where it's going to be looking for. And if you just pass a string that has no slash thingy, slash component, then it will assume that it's from CRAN and will look there. Okay, so this is to introduce you to this new tool, or relatively new. The package pack has been there for a while, but it's improving very rapidly. So if you experience some friction with this package, say 2 years ago, now I think you would have a much better user experience. It's built by two developers that I really admire. One is Jim Hester, but the main one is, well, I'll look at it in a moment. Here it is. From Gabor, there you go, from Gabor. So it promises to be a great tool. Okay, now that I showed you that, I'm gonna delete that token. I don't want anyone to do things that that you shouldn't. So I'm gonna delete. Even if you have that token now, you wouldn't be able to do anything. So now if I rerun this function, now that I've removed the token from GitHub, notice what happens. I should get a failure or not. Yeah, there you go. There is an error here because the token that I have installed locally has no corresponding token on GitHub. I removed that token, so I no longer am able to use it locally to talk to GitHub. Okay, so that kind of, I think, shows the entire loop of how this works. Okay, so enough about installing packages. So next we're gonna be talking about how to control where the packages go. And before I do that, let me go back to your faces and ask if there is any comment or question here. Maybe any experience with the package, which I'm pretty new to. No comments or questions? Okay, that's fine. I mean, installing packages for many of us is something that we do regularly and with no friction. But those who are relatively new to R, particularly when they try to install packages from private repos, may experience frictions. And now here is a record of a video record of how to do it. So the next thing I want to show is this idea of how to control where the packages where packages go. So let me again get that file that I had a moment ago here on the screen. Okay, and the defaults are generally clever. You don't need to do much, but in some occasions you may want to change things a little bit. So I'm going to try show the few cases where you might want to do that and how to actually do it. To begin with, the trick is all or mostly from this function called libpaths. So this function, if you go to the help file, you will find what it is all about. And as it says here, it is the function that controls. Let me go back to the notes. Here, it controls how to get and set the library trees within which packages are looked for. So basically, you install packages. That means that some files will be located somewhere in your computer, and it could be more than one place. So when you run the functions such as install.packages, for example, or or package_install, those functions will look through all the possible places where you may have packages installed or where you would like to install your packages. So when you call library, for example, that function needs to be aware of all the places where you might have packages installed. Yes, there is there is more than one. So if I just call this function, I get all the paths where packages are installed. The one that belongs to the user is the very first one. And that is what you also learn when you read about the lib argument of the function install package. So if you go to the help file of install packages, you will see that the second argument is called lib. And the description of it says that if you don't give any explicit argument to lib, if missing, it will default to the first element of lib path. So this one here, the one that is highlighted. Right, this one here. So the other library here, for example, in this particular system, is reserved for packages that come by default with R, packages like base, for example, or like utils. And then this one here is reserved for packages that I install as a user, or in this particular system, which is a multi-user system, any user installs in their system. So the way to know where the packages will go is simply calling libpaths and asking for the very first argument. So if I just call install packages with the name of a package, then that is where the package is going to be installed. So one thing you could do, if you're curious, is to see, let's copy paste this, is to see which packages have been installed. And there is a few ways in which you could do it, but one way is to just list the contents of that path, of the path that is the default path for packages that the user installs. So here you will recognize the names of some packages like Shiny or Test That, which are of course packages that are extensions of the R ecosystem. They're not packages that come out of the box with R. So if I do the same for the second path, you will recognize packages like Base, like utils, right, as I just said before. So now, knowing this thing, you could do that. You could do that, this new knowledge to do something like, for example, install a package that you want to just test for a second and then like throw away. So one scenario where you may want to do that is when you want to install a package from the development version of a package that you already have installed. So for example, here I have the package R2AI data. So let me see if I do package version of R2DII data, what do I get? I get 0.2.2. So what if I wanted to test the development version of this package just to try it, but leave my system untouched? Well, one thing you can do is to use that lib argument, which happens to be in the second position of just about every function that needs it, and pass specifically a temporary directory. So the temporary tempdir function gives you a directory that is valid for as long as the R session lasts. So you can use that to basically define that as your temporary library. So I could do something like this and say, let me clear this up. So I paste it again and fits here on the screen, make it a little bigger. So I can say, hey, pack, install from GitHub this package called R2AI data and put it in my temporary directory. So if I just run that, let's see what happens. We should get also a message somewhere. My credentials, I think that that's weird because I should not need a token for this, I think. But let me try now DevTools install GitHub. As you can see, I'm pretty new to the package, so it just failed. This one also failed. Okay, what we can do is to solve this problem quickly by creating a new token, as we learned before from use this, create token, go here, type again, delete me from the day of today, generate the token, copy it, refresh the page. Now go back to RStudio and do git creds set, pass it there. What do I want to do? I want to replace the one and I want to paste it now. So there was a token and I just resetted it. So I changed the one that we had before for a new one, and now let's see if the trick works. I didn't expect to need a token at all for that call, but it looks like, yeah, I did. Oh, but no, actually credentials, to make sure that your GitHub token is valid. Replace, not sure what's going on really. So let's see what, yeah, I guess that this, okay, let's do this locally in my system here. Okay, that's the quickest solution I can think of. So let's try VS. Not sure really what issue is happening there, but the first thing I want to do is to delete this token because, as I said before, that's private information. Second, I'm opening another computer environment. In this case, it's my local computer environment. Here I do have all the tokens and everything set, so it should just work. I'm going to open the file that we were using as a guide once again, and we're gonna scroll down to here, how to install packages to a temporary directory. So let's see, this I expect it should work. What I'm saying here is I'm asking the package to install packages into this temporary directory. Here it is working. Sorry, I couldn't figure out on the fly what was the problem before. And then the second trick you need to do is, okay, the package is installed, but if I do package version and I ask for R2DII data, you will see that it still detects the installed package that is in the default library, which, as we learned, is the one that comes from libpath, which is this one here. So it is not the one that comes from tempdir, right? So how do we actually use the package from tempdir? Okay, what we do need to do is to use the same, in this case, library R2DII data. But now the second argument again has to be tempdir, because we have to say from where we want the package to be looked for. So now the package did work. So if I do a package version again, I should expect well, let me restart, because the one that was attached, so what I need to do is detach the older package, so detach the R2DII data package. This is kind of something that we rarely do. And now do library that package from that temporary library. Still, maybe the package on GitHub is also has also that version as opposed to the development version. That's really weird. Well, a lot of things not working as I expected, but the point I want to show is that you can install packages in. Maybe if I wonder if I used a different function, remote install packages, install GitHub from 2 degrees investing R2DII data, and we do this in tempdir. I wonder if this function, maybe I'm trying to be too clever. Well, anyway, as you can see, maybe if anything, this highlights is the complexity of installing R packages. With me having done this a million times, I'm still struggling to make these points clear. So let me then walk through.
5-minute warning.
Say again.
5-minute warning.
Oh, great. Thanks, CJ. I forgot to assign you as a timekeeper, but lovely. Thanks you did that. Okay, let me walk through this then theoretically, because the demo is an absolute disaster today. So what we did is we installed a package in a temporary directory, just using the second argument to a function like install the packages and or package install and library, which all have that lib or lib.log argument. The name is different, but it does the same. And then the final thing I want to show is another use case where you want to have a project specific library. So the very best way to do that is to use the excellent package renv. So with that, let me go to let's see if I can show it here in the other, here in this other environment. Let me restart. So renv has, of course, you have to have it installed, and then it has a function called init. So that's all you need to do to define a library that is specific to your project. It will add a folder in your project that is called renv, and inside it you will see this folder called library. So it has done just now everything that it needs to set it up, and now notice that if I do .live paths, which is the function that we learned about today, notice that the very first path there, which is, as we learned, the one that is defined as the user library, the one is going to be used by default when we install packages. Now it has been set by renv to this path that lives inside the project where I'm working right now, which is basically this library here. It's the path to this one here. You can recognize the name of it right now, right here. So now there's nothing else that you need to do. You just continue to use your project, and it will just use packages from that specific project-specific library. And the very last thing I want to mention that I recorded a video about how to install packages in a custom library that you defined in a permanent way. The video is on YouTube. And you are welcome to go and watch it. I'm not going to cover it here because it's very complex, and second, because I don't think it is a common enough use case that deserves our time here. Instead, I would like to go back to your faces and ask you if we have any comments or questions. All right, nothing apparently today. I apologize for the traumatic demo. Sometimes it happens. I tried to buy a few things on the fly, but I was unable. That's real life, I guess. It kind of demonstrates the point that installing packages is not always as easy. It's getting better, and I encourage you to explore tools like the new package pack or the renv package. All of those have been designed to make our experience installing packages better. And although it didn't work as I expected today for me, in general, my life as someone who installs packages often has been improved a lot lately. But anyway, thanks a lot for joining us again. And next time, I think we're going to have the last meetup of this series. About the book, What They Forgot to Teach You About R. Thank you.
Ciao.
Ciao, ciao.